How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Larry Fink just said he never expected this kind of demand from the Bitcoin ETFs. I want to play that clip for you. He does talk about Bitcoin a little bit. I also want to show you some insane charts that we're getting right now. It shows you who's really buying, how little Bitcoin there is to sell. If you don't mind, hit subscribe. Turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos like this as soon as I make them. Some of this is time sensitive. This is going to be more the case as we start moving up more. We've been consolidating for a while, so people think we have all the time in the world. But then, a big piece of news comes out and then we're back up in a way, and you want to make sure you hear the information as soon as it comes out. That's something that I try to do on this channel that some people don't do when they make a video a day. Now, there is going to be a link to MargX as well underneath the video in case you want to leverage trade. This kind of shows you just in a really short graphic here how leverage trading affects you. So let's say you buy spot Bitcoin at 68,500 versus buying a 5x on Bitcoin at 68,500. The liquidation price, if you buy spot, you just never get liquidated. You can always hold it. Compared to on 5x, the liquidation price would be right about $55,000, which, as you can see here, we've had some strong support well above that level. So that level would be right about here. So probably good chances we never hit that level for at least a long time. So if we go up to 100K and you buy a spot, you would make a 46% return. But if you buy on 5x, you would make about a 229% return. So that's some of the power of leverage. Of course, like I said, you can lose it as well if you get liquidated, but that is one tool that you can put in your tool belt for the next bull run. If you want to start trading, there is a link to MargX underneath the video and a link to CoinW too. They have a special private trading group that you can get in for free if you use the link underneath the video, and they have all different kinds of information. They have trading sessions, they have live calls where you can jump on and learn more about trading as well. So check that link out underneath the video. Now let's take a look at the spot ETF volume for the day. We don't know what the inflows are looking like yet. Yesterday we had a strong day. Today it looks like we might have another strong day. I bet with solid volume of $1.8 billion. If we scroll down, we have GBTC with about $790 million in volume, and then right below that we have FBTC with about $590 million in volume. So another strong day of volume from the ETFs. We'll get into what Larry Fink said about the ETFs just in a little while, but I do think it's important to note that there was a new ETF that started trading today called DeFi. This is coming from Hashdex. It's the 11th spot Bitcoin ETF, and we know that there are more that are going to start trading like in Hong Kong, in London, in those places. But even in the US, we do have new spot ETFs coming up. So that is something to pay attention to. We know that Coinbase also looks like they might start a Bitcoin spot ETF as well from some filings recently. Could be wrong about that, but that's what it seems like. Now, these are the really interesting charts. Before we get to Larry Fink, Bitcoin whale holdings are growing at the highest monthly pace ever, 11.8% month over month. The previous high was 11.1% month over month back in January 2021. So what does this mean? Well, okay, this means that whales are buying a lot. I mean, think about that. They grew their bags by 11.8%. Let's say they have 1,000 Bitcoin. Well, they just bought 118 Bitcoin in that time span, just based on those numbers, on average. When have they done this in the past? Well, either when Bitcoin's price was falling, you can see it here, like Bitcoin's price in black, it fell pretty quickly, and they bought a lot, then they bought more here, or when it's spiking up. The last highest time, again, was back here in 2021, right before or right kind of during that bull market phase, right in the middle part of it. So yeah, I mean, this is probably a good sign. You can see here, there's significant buying during the bear market, and now we are seeing more buying right now. And at the same time, the liquid inventory ratio reached an all-time low. This is a really interesting chart, and I've never seen it before. But liquid inventory ratio is calculated by dividing the total sell-side inventory by the 30-day Bitcoin balance change of accumulation addresses. Okay, so just to break it down, sell-side inventory. That could be Bitcoin on exchanges. That could be GBTC, right? Those two things. And then the demand. How much are the accumulation addresses buying over the last 30 days? So you can see the ratio right now is about 10.9 months. I mean, compare that to times in the past. And this is the inventory ratio on the right side, which is just nuts because this is a log scale. Like even 2023, it looks like we had 100 months of inventory. If you go further in the past, it was much more even. So this is crazy how little Bitcoin there is, and how quickly it's being bought up. And we've seen that with Bitcoin on exchanges, but that's a new way of looking at it. Institutional funds are adding a lot of Bitcoin as well. This cycle is different. So this is the realized cap for short-term whales. MicroStrategy started buying here, right? They're buying a little bit of Bitcoin. Well, back then it was a lot of Bitcoin, right? The realized cap was maybe $5 billion or something. Now with BlackRock and the other ETFs coming in, it just spiked up. So they're buying at high prices and they continue to push that cap up. Other whales are showing up too. I've never shown this wallet, but it was just started about a month ago and started adding heavily at the beginning of March and added the last few days. The 26th, the 27th, they bought 3,000 Bitcoin, 1,700 Bitcoin, and they haven't sold any either. They've just been accumulating. Now they're number 46 on the Bitcoin rich list. So you might be saying, okay, well, if that's all happening, if we have so much demand and there's nothing for sale, why are we falling down? Well, obviously there are more sellers than buyers. You can actually see that right here. Over the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, smaller wallets, 100 or less, have been selling a lot, 115,000 Bitcoin. Now, over that time span, though, we've seen large wallets with 100 plus Bitcoin buy that amount and more. They've bought a net of 82,645 Bitcoin even after this selling. But keep in mind, the last 30 days, yeah, they've been buying, but this is 30 days. We don't have a 7-day breakdown or 14-day breakdown since we really started to fall down from 74,000, but most likely it's just short-term holders. That's what we've seen on past charts. It's newer, smaller wallets selling and whales accumulating. Now, one other thing that kind of freaked out the market today, I made a video on it earlier, but the SEC case will move forward against Coinbase on most of the claims. They did dismiss the claims against Coinbase Wallet, though, which is really interesting. It's something that I didn't really talk about too much this morning, but it is good news. We also appreciate the court's understanding that technology innovations like Coinbase Wallet do not and cannot implicate U.S. securities laws. So that is good news. But this just means that they are moving forward with the case. They're going to have to go to discovery. Not anything unprecedented there. So a little bit of people getting freaked out because there were some really bearish headlines saying that like Coinbase had lost the case to the SEC, which isn't the case. They just have to keep on moving forward. Now, let's talk about Larry Fink, but first, I am investing in this. Satoshi Sync registrations are now live on Ape Terminal. This, I think, will be a really big drop. Or a really big token event. So be ready for this. If you're interested, you can go check out Ape Terminal or Satoshi Sync over on Twitter. Again, not being paid to talk about it. I just am investing myself. Now, Larry Fink just talked about the Bitcoin ETFs. Let me play this clip for you.
Look, I'm very bullish on the long-term viability of Bitcoin.
I was going to say, did that surprise you?
That surprised me how much that's gone up. I mean, look, it is. We're creating now a market that has more liquidity, more transparency, and I'm pleasantly surprised, and I would never have predicted it before we filed it, that we were going to see this type of retail demand.
So you thought you'd do good, but not this good.
I thought, yes.
Well, IBIT is your ETF over at iShares.
Yes.
It's about to overtake Grayscale, which was in the business certainly a lot longer. You look at the gains since January 11th when it first came about.
Yes.
Have you ever seen this much inflow this quickly into
IBIT is the fastest growing ETF in the history of ETFs.
Okay, I'd say that's pretty successful, right? You can't be better than the best. So he seems even surprised, talking about how well these ETFs have gone, how much demand there is, how much the price has moved up. And again, a lot of institutions haven't even started to sell this to their clients yet. A lot of people have not been able to buy IBIT. A lot of people haven't been able to buy FBTC. We've had large redemptions or large selling for GBTC that is from institutions that have gone bankrupt. So imagine, like, well, first of all, let's just say those companies that sold the GBTC, a lot of them didn't go and buy Bitcoin. So a lot of people think, oh, well, we're just seeing a lot of money flow from GBTC over to the other ETFs, which is partially true, but that's not the whole picture, right? Like some of these bankrupt institutions just sold and they're not buying anything back. They're just selling so that way they can repay debtors. Also, there are more inflows than there are outflows from GBTC anyway. So obviously there are new buyers or people buying more. So imagine 6 months from now when there's less Bitcoin, right? Less Bitcoin on exchanges, less Bitcoin on the OTC desks, and the price is moving up. People are feeling FOMO. The wealth advisors can finally start selling these ETFs to their clients after they've been yelled at by their clients over and over and over that they need to be able to buy some Bitcoin because all their friends are talking about how much Bitcoin they bought and how much money they made. Bitcoin's at 6 figures. Obviously, the price is going to be going up. It's extremely bullish what's happening right now. So yeah, we may have to go through a little bit of sideways action, some liquidations, some choppiness back and forth here. But the Bitcoin halving is coming up. This is extremely bullish, and most likely this is just a little pit stop, right? This is healthy. We were asking for this, at least I was asking for this when we were up around the $73,000 mark, because remember, we moved up very quickly. Like we moved up from 39,000 straight up to 73 without really any dips. Sure, we had this one day of dips and then continued to move up. But I asked for this. I basically said at the time, I really hope we get a pullback because I don't want this to be a 5-month bull market where we just explode to 120K, 140K, and then crash back down. I want healthy buying. I want some people to be shaken out, the weak hands to be shaken out. I want strong holders. I want people to be bullish long-term, positioning themselves long-term for this bull run. And that's what we're getting when we're seeing this little bit of a dip and then rally. Let me know your thoughts, though, underneath the video. Again, as I've said in the past, dips are meant for buying in a bull market. Thank you so much. Again, you can check out the links to Margex, CoinW. I also haven't talked about this in a little while, but there is a link to HGAlgo underneath the video. This plugs right into your TradingView account, and you can get indicators whether the market is bullish or bearish on different time frames, which can be super helpful. It also gives you a DCA function. It shows you when might be a good time to dollar cost average into the market or out of the market on specific assets. So if you want to check that out, there's a discount right now. It's 20% off. There's also a link down there to HGAaccess as well, in case you want to know what I'm buying in the market, along with a bunch of other creators. We give really good data over there, and you can get in a group with a bunch of other people that are trading a lot typically in the market. So we just have access to a lot of information as creators that we put into that group. So definitely check that out underneath the video as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll see you in the next video.